Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political or discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, as all system going, the Kenya Kwanza administration suffers another blow after they appealed on the issue of the university funding model is still unconstitutional. And this breaks the record. The Kenya Kwanza administration seemed to be the most unconstitutional administration ever in the history of this great country. And it leaves us with the question, why are we always on this, aspect? The administration has the Attorney General. This administration has lawyers. This administration has the PhD holders. And it keeps, falling out with the law on every attempt. Why is this the case? Is it that the Kenya Kwanza administration is hell-bent to modulate and manipulate the constitution, or they just don't care about what the constitution says as long as they have made up their mind on what they want to achieve, whichever way? We'll be looking at that extensively and come to a amicable conclusion. What is bedeviling the Kenya Kwanza administration with their falling out with the law every time? While that is going on, well, Kenyans again are asked to go deeper in their pockets as far as this year's budget is concerned, 300 billion more than the other one. So the more things change, the more they remain the same. We thought that with this new arrangement, they will be cut down on expenditures and other demands so that Kenyans can have it easy. But it appears they are tightening their belt is a must for the Kenya Kwanza administration. I don't know what your take would be on that. Is this going to end up where the 2024 finance bill ended too, by countrywide mass protest, or how will this play out? I need your input even as we dive deep into this discussion. I would love everybody's opinion to be brought forth so that Kenyans can make informed decisions on these matters. We are live on Sound Candid Talk Live YouTube channel, Sound Candid Talk YouTube channel, as well as Sound Candid Talk of Facebook page. Please be an extension of what you're doing right here, right where you are, by sharing the link widely and getting more people to join. I salute each one that is joining us from wherever you are. We value your input and your continued faithful followership. We salute each one of you. Please be at home here, even as we dive deep into this understanding of our politics. Our magazine is making sense of our politics, easing life for the masses. And that means as different Kenyans share on these views from every different walk of life, I believe you begin to make sense of our politics and you begin to see it in a new light, and therefore take it easy. Well, as this is going on, the SHA implementation is another nightmare, as over 600 private and rural medical centers pull out of SHA because of payment defaults and all manner of complications that are arisen by reason of the new implementation of SHA. What's your take on it? Is it that the SHA was not well thought out? Was it hurried? Why is it having innumerous hiccups and they seem not to be going away? Lives are being lost. Kenyans are being forced to dig deeper in their pockets to keep with their medical demands. Is this how this is meant to be? It's been said it is all a scam. Is it true that it's a scam? We need your opinion, especially those of you that are in the medical field. Would want to hear your feel on the same. And of course, give us more light. We would want to know it practically from a medical practitioner's point of view. We could be just, bad mouthing something that is good. We would want to hear that. There was a time when Eli said it is one of the greatest blessings for this country. Does he have the same opinion now? And that medical wherever centers are pulling out from the SHA provisions. Well, let's get down to business. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Esther Stoll, I can see you. Karibu kwa show. M&A, welcome to the show. Peter Davis, karibu kwa show. Asante sana. Nianze kwa kuomba msamaha, nimekuwa mbali kwa muda, lakini nashukuru kila mmoja kwa kuwa hapa kila mara tunapoendelea na mjadala. Niwe nisiwepo, majadiliano yaendelee, bora tunasifiana nia na tunaendelea kujifunza kila uchao. Ningependa kuwashukuru kila mmoja kwa kuendelea kuwa waaminifu. Tuni Mhamuda wa PS, asante sana kwa kuwa mwaminifu kila siku. Charles Green, we appreciate you. Long time no seen. Karibu kwa show, asante sana. Anasema niko hapa kwa Facebook. Karibu sana. Naomba tushirikiane kwa pamoja tunapoanza kipindi chetu kwa fujo tu katika haya masuala yote ambayo yanaguzia afya ya kila Mkenya na hali jinsi mambo yalivyo. Ni suala nyeti tu, kwa sababu inaonekana serikali tulionayo ni serikali ambayo imepiga mbizi katika masuala ya Wakenya. Yani inapofika haja ya Wakenya au wanazika kichwa kwa mchanga, hawataki kujua lolote, lakini kifika kwao basi nduru ndio hiyo, lazima hiki kifanyike kwa sababu kinawaguza hao. Na tukiangazia tu kutokana na anaitwa nani, msimamizi wa budget na haya mambo yote, zile hela ambazo zimefujwa, zile hela ambazo zimetumika pasipo, priorities za Kenya Kwanza zimekuwa bottom up badala zikuwe bottom up zimekuwa top bottom, kwa sababu tumeona State House inafanya renovation kama an urgent matter, and sio State House moja Nairobi, zote pamoja zinachukua hela tu kwa kurenovate concrete na haya masuala mengine. Alafu ikasemekana nyumba tena ya Deputy President irekebishwe, ifanywe renovation, hela ndio hizo zinatumika. Lakini ikifika kwa afya wa Kenya hawakutuki, hawaguzwi. Ikifika kwa masuala ya masomo wanacheza nayo. Ikifika kwa masuala ya maendeleo imekuwa sasa ni story tu ya maendeleo, lakini kuona maendeleo yenyewe imekuwa nadra sana. Ni kipi hiki ambacho Kenya Kwanza inasimamia? Na ni wazi inaonekana kana kwamba Kenya Kwanza haina mpango wote kuhusu mwananchi wa kawaida, ila ni serikali ya walioko katika madaraka na kunufaisha wachache, wengine wakilia. Haya mambo yote yakiendelea, mnajua ile saga imekuwepo katikati ya Sakaja na watu wa Kenya Power, kukawa kumwagiana takataka, mara kufungiwa maji na kukatiwa stima. So hilo swala limekuwa nyeti mpaka National Assembly imeingilia ndani na inasema IG anapaswa kuja kueleza kwa nini kuvunja kwa sheria kunaendelea, na yeye hajasema lolote, hajapasha wa Kenya ni kipi kinachoendelea. Na this becomes as an interesting subject because do we have an IG that wants to take instructions from wananchi, or is an IG that knows his job? Because we have had 3 now IGs under the Kenya Kwanza administration. We had the one that left as soon as the new administration came in. Then we had Koome, and now we have this new one, Kanja. And all of them seem to be playing on the same tone. I mean, the reasons why Koome left could be the same reason why now Kanja is on hot seat. Why is the law being broken and no action is being done? And it looks like the IG wants to wait for Ichungwa and the team to instruct him on what to do. Is this what we bargained for? And then, of course, don't forget there is a threat from Sudan about our miscalculation with our entertaining visitors that are not supposed to be our visitors in the first place. And so that threat looms over Kenya. We don't know how far it will go. We hope it's just an empty threat. But if there's anything to be made good, then we should be vigilant even as we go out and come in as a people. I want to thank everyone. Please, tukaribishane, 13 people. Can we get more people to join, please? Share the link widely, get more people to join. Let's get down to business. We start with that saga of what? Okay, let's begin with the National Assembly and the demand for the IG in the saga of Sakaja and Kenya Power.
And on the same, during the afternoon session of the National Assembly proceedings today on Wednesday, here is how the lawmakers responded to the ongoings and the dirty wars between the Kenya Power and Lighting Company and the county government of Nairobi.
Indeed, I was asking myself last night as I watched on TV, where are the police that should be ensuring there is law and order everywhere in the country? The Inspector General of Police must take decisive action, and it must begin from the drivers to the people who instructed them. Whether it goes all the way up to the governor, it should not matter.
If you cannot afford to pay your bills, you negotiate with the person you owe money. You don't use other means to intimidate them and to make them, to make them let you go with their money. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to condemn that matter, Mr. Speaker, because it is uncouth and primitive, and it is an irresponsible way of dealing with an issue.
We shall not allow this country to be reduced to a Wild West behavior, whereas you disagree with somebody and you send goons and hooligans to go and sort out your mess. That is not Kenya, and you must stop it. So I direct you to summon the IG to find out why no action has been taken against this publicized criminal behavior by the city government of Nairobi.
Okay, mambo ni kama hayo. Huyo ni Papa wa Roma anasema IG aitwe aelezee mbona dhambi zinatendeka na yeye hajukui action. Anasema hatutaruhusu tabia kama hii kuendelea katika Kenya hii. Na haya masuala yote yanavyotendeka, kwanza Nairobi sio Kisumu, na Nairobi sio Kakamega, Nairobi sio Machakos. Nairobi ndio capital city ya mambo haya yote. So na hii imetendeka sasa ni siku ya pili. So if the leaders are talking like this and this is a serious matter, I mean, what kind of action is required to be taken? I thought us being the capital city, we require a faster response to matters like this. And where's the president in all this? Where is the head of state, as well as all the concerned parties? This to me is appearing shameful and uncalled for in my school of thought. When matters like this happen, I think they require urgent and fast response. And so it is a fault not only for Sakaja and team, but Sakaja being the CEO of Nairobi, when he begins to fail, the head of state and the other organs need to intervene. And some of Kenya Power is a parastatal. And what is it? County government is part of government. So what is this all about? So let them, I think, sort out their difference amicably and leave Kenyans out of this. We should not put Kenyans at risk by exposing them to hostile and polluted air simply because we want to get even and answer back. To me, that is a fault that should not be repeated, and anybody thinking like that should not be anywhere leadership is being mentioned. I really feel very disappointed that we are still using these primitive ways of sorting out our differences when there are clear ways of dealing with such. I think is it that we don't learn lessons, or we just like messing up? Why do we want to live from crisis to crisis? There is no designed way to sort out the issues of the Kenya Power and the defaults of the Nairobi City County. This is making the city county sound bad, and of course uncalled for. We don't have this kind of cases, not in Busia, not in Bungoma, not in those remote counties. Why should it happen in Nairobi? This is uncalled for, and of course the people concerned need to be ashamed of the same and take required measures to help in the matter at hand. And then the summoning of the IG, I find that to be another twist to just waste Kenyans' time. Okay, if there is a complaint to the IG, or rather, I think the IG should have been summoned immediately. It was reported there is rubbish or there is smelly waste that is being wherever poured or staged at the steamer plaza. The first place to call is the IG, so that the situation gets saved. Gets salvaged. Just like when we are demonstrating and the boys are blocked the road. Do the police wait for 2 days to go and clear the road? So this to me is laziness, incompetence, as well as irresponsible. And Wetangula and team, where were they? Are they waking up now to summon the IG? 2 days late. Mtaniambia nyinyi, kwangu mimi naona hapa ni utepetevu na ujinga usiopimika. Watu wajibike katika kazi zao na wazitumie Wakenya kama nini? Kenyan lives matter and people's lives matter. Don't expose people to danger for 2 days is when you now begin to summon them before your committee. Are those people who have inhaled those poisonous, whatever, waste fumes, are they going to examine them and get medication? So this to me is fault from the leadership itself. Well, I want to quickly also speak on a matter. There is a matter I need to address. I will not stay with us all through. I'm still on my medical rest, but the rest of the crew will be ushering us into the second part of the discussion. But I'm here to address a matter that is urgent and necessary at this point in time. And so just let's call in more people. We have 20 people. Can we get our numbers back, please? Share, we get more people before I make that communication. It's a matter that would want everybody's response. So please, let's be active. Let's get in more people to, weigh on the same. And as that continues, as you invite, let's look at this issue of the unconstitutional government with the university funds model.
The High Court has upheld its ruling declaring the government's new university funding model unconstitutional, dealing another blow yet to the Kenya Kwanza administration's plan. Justice Chacha Mwita reaffirmed the December 20th judgment in 2024, stating that the model violates the constitution. Stephen Leto tells us in the following reports that education stakeholders have today met in Naivasha in Nakuru County to address the looming crisis, assuring learners that university admissions will proceed as planned despite the ongoing standoff.
The Kenya Kwanza administration's new funding model has hit yet another major setback. The High Court has once again halted the government's funding plan, leaving over 400,000 students in limbo. The Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services had filed an application seeking a temporary suspension of the court's earlier decision to allow the implementation of the new funding model. However, the High Court's latest ruling keeps the brakes firmly on the plan. This comes after the court declared the new model unconstitutional in December last year. In a ruling today, the High Court ruled, and I quote, "Public interest is better served when everyone operates within the law." The new funding model was found to be inconsistent with the Constitution and existing laws, and suspending its nullification will only allow actions taken outside the legal framework to continue. Justice Chacha Mwita further said, quote, "I am not persuaded that there is merit in granting the application. Therefore, the application dated January 27, 2025 is declined and dismissed." End quote.
An honor.
The High Court ruling landed on a pivotal day, just as education stakeholders convened in Naivasha to tackle the escalating university funding crisis. Higher Education PS Beatrice Inyangala led the crisis talks, meeting with key education stakeholders, including members of the National Assembly's Education Committee. With the controversial funding model now on ice, the Ministry of Education has been sent back to the drawing board. Yet they moved swiftly to reassure the more than 245,000 2024 KCSE candidates that they will still secure university placements by September, despite the legal impasse threatening to derail the process.
The funds that flew into the flow of funds to universities based on the new funding model really increased the resources available to universities, and some of them were able to pay some of the pending bills.
Higher Education PS Beatrice Inyangala revealed that the ministry will soon issue guidelines on opening the COOPS portal for the 2024 KCSE candidates. She defended the new funding model, arguing it brings more money into the education sector.
In the past, the budget for university education used to grow by 5%. So that means without the intervention of the new funding model, it was going to take about 20 years for the government to allocate 82 billion to universities.
The Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service argued that nullifying the model creates funding uncertainty, affecting first-year students already placed under the new system. Lawmakers in Naivasha called for fresh talks to streamline the model, warning that it's nearly impossible for taxpayers to fully fund all university students.
But by us saying that it is not, it's unconstitutional, means the whole funding cannot operate, and therefore we have to go to the drawing board, follow the process, do public participation.
Beyond the funding model, the Ministry of Education is grappling with rising university debts, which have surged from 60 billion shillings to 72 billion shillings, worsening the financial crisis in this sector. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.
Okay, hivyo ndio mambo yapo kutoka kotini. Masuala ya new model ya university funding metupiliwa mbali. Inasemekana haijafuata mikakati ambayo imewekwa na katiba mpya. Hivi ni Ruto hajasoma katiba mpya, lawyers wake mpaka Attorney General, ama kuna nini kinachoendelea katika Kenya Kwanza na masuala ya sheria? Sio housing levy, sio hustler fund. I mean, swala lipi ambalo William Ruto na wanaoongoza na yeye wamekwenda kotini wakavita kwa sababu wamefuata sheria? Ni kipi hiki ambacho kiko na shida na kufuata sheria na serikali hii? And then of course kuna hapo hiyo PS anasema yes, anasema kwamba umepata hela mingi kwa kupitia hii model kuliko nyingine. Sielewi hela zingine zimetoka wapi, kwa sababu hii model imewekwa, watu wamewekwa katika viwango tofauti, walipiwe katika viwango tofauti, watu wapangwe kulingana na umaskini wao. Hii inadunisha, na education will no longer be an equalizer as it's supposed to be. In my opinion, let the government come up with a better model or revert to the old model and find funding for education. Education is something that can be funded from both locally and internationally. All we need to do is put up proper systems that ensure that money meant for education is spent for that sole purpose. If we can only arrest the rampant corruption will have enough money to, educate our people without straining and without categorizing them according to their poverty. And so the outcry of the Kenya Kwanza administration on the issue of there is no enough money for this and that, when there is wastage of earlier campaigns and unlimited, endless travel by the president from one region to another, all that money being wasted on the road and otherwise can be channeled properly, and I'm sure it will be able to foot some of these bills. So the outcry that there is no money, to me, is an excuse we cannot afford. We need to take responsibility. And if there is one administration that has committed itself to run from responsibility, is this one. Okay, anytime something is in the interest of the masses and it proves a little hard, we want to change it into something easier. Now, that is not the approach. When it comes to renovating State House, we don't look for an easier, cheaper model. When it comes to renovating Deputy President's home, we go for the highest bidder and things like that. I mean, what happens when it comes to Mwananchi? I thought Mwananchi is the one to be given priority. If State House Nairobi is broken down, the president can move to the one in Mombasa. There are some state lodges that have never been occupied since they were built. So there is no place, there is no urgency in renovating State House, as there is urgency for people who are going to miss out on education when their turn is for them to get to the university. So, and this is one of the things we need to be discussing in our parliament, other than discussing on who is the majority, who is the minority. We need to be addressing such manenos. Urgency ya watoto kwenda shule kama saa hii grade 9 hatawana classrooms na hiyo maswala kama haya. These are more urgent matters than anything else. And so I would that we change our attitude towards fixing what is going wrong with our country. Well, we take a short break. I'll make an official communication, and thereafter I'll hand you over to the other crew to continue with the conversation. We need your input, please. Usicheze mbali, hapa ndipo unapaswa kuwepo na kutekeleza wajibu wako kama Mkenya mzalendo ambaye anataka kusema asikike. Asanteni sana, tunarejea hivi punde.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live. At Sound Kanti Talk, we provide live UHD broadcast for church services, talk shows and podcasts, weddings, live bands, products and services launches, webinars and trainings, Zoom meetings, conferences, seminars, exhibitions, and virtual concerts.
But the unthinkable happened. Police opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing over 20, injuring many, and leaving others unaccounted for. Frank was among the victims, hit by 6 bullets, yet by God's grace, he survived. After a series of life-saving surgeries, Frank can now walk again. But the bullets left a lasting impact. He can no longer perform heavy-duty jobs to support his grandmother. And their iron sheet home, deep in the slum, is inaccessible by vehicles. In case of a medical emergency, help is far out of reach. To make matters worse, the slum is plagued by insecurity, with daily cases of muggings and robberies. Despite all these challenges, Frank dreams of finishing his education, learning a trade, and building a better life for his grandmother, the woman who has stood by him through every storm. This is where we need your help. In the short term, we aim to move Frank and his grandmother to a safer home where they can access medical care and live without constant fear. Long term, we want to support Frank in completing his education, learning a profitable skill, and starting a small business. I've faced so much, but I'm still standing. I want to work hard, take care of my grandmother, and make her proud. I just need a chance. You can be the change in Frank's life. Every contribution, big or small, will go a long way in helping this brave young man and his grandmother rebuild their lives. Let's come together and help Frank fulfill his God-given destiny. God bless you. Send your donations to Sound Candid Talk, support Frank Okoth account. The link is in the description below. Together, we can make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video widely, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Sound Candid Talk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We trust all is well with you wherever you are. I want to make a communication officially to each one of us. And probably some of you may be in the know-how. Well, one of us here who has been part and parcel of our work as Sound Candid Talk has been bereaved, and as usual, I would want us to intervene and help out where possible. Msimamo is a well-known participant and stakeholder within our circles of debating and otherwise. Msimamo lost his dad, I think 3 days ago. He reached out to me, and since I've not been able to come to the show, I said I'll come today and make that official communication. So one of the reasons why you have not heard or seen him is because yuko katika hiyo pilika ya kufanya maandalizi ya mazishi ya babake. Aliaga dunia siku 2-3 zimepita, na kwa sababu ni mojawapo wa familia na amekuwa nasi tangu mwanzo na wengi wetu tunamfahamu, ningependa tukamsaidie katika hii safari, kwa sababu masuala ya kufiwa ni masuala ambayo hayana notisi, yanaweza kutendeka mahala popote kwa mtu yeyote. So wengi wenu ambao mnamjua Msimamo, babake wa kumzaa aliaga, na mazishi yamepangwa weekend hii, nafikiria ni Jumamosi ama Jumapili. Kwa hivyo ningependa kama familia ya Sound Candid Talk kusimama na Msimamo na kumsupport katika mambo haya, kuhakikisha kwamba ana nafasi nzuri ya kumuaga babake kwa njia ambayo inafana. Kwa hivyo ningependa tu kuwahimiza kila mmoja wetu tukamfikie katika kumpatia moral support na pia kuchanga kitu kidogo kusaidia katika hiyo masuala ya matanga. Natumai unanipata na unanielewa. Kwa hivyo naomba nitakuwa naweka namba yake pale wakati nimeconfirm majina yake, kisha naomba tu chochote kile ulicho nacho ambacho unaweza kuchangia katika masuala haya, naomba usichele, usingoje, tuma mchango wako, na naamini kwamba ni muhimu kusaidiana haswa katika masuala haya ya kufiwa. Kama una maswali mengine, una nafasi ya kunifikia either kwa njia ya WhatsApp ama wote mko na namba yangu, kwa hivyo mnaweza itumia kunifikia. Lakini ningependa michango kama inawezekana iende moja kwa moja kwa Msimamo. So nitakuwa napeana namba yake na majina yake. Just need to confirm his official name so that wale ambao mnatuma kutoka ng'ambo msikuwe na matatizo. Na kama ni ngumu wewe kutumia namba yake, basi utatumia namba yangu ile ambayo umezoea, kisha uniagize hii ni ya msimamo, alafu tutafanya kama ilivyo desturi. Ningependa kuwashukuru kila mmoja kwa kuwa waaminifu na kuendelea kuwa mmojawapo wa familia kubwa ya Sound Candid Talk. Naomba tu tafadhali tusimame na msimamo, tusimwache peke yake akae upweke, ili hali tupo. Haya masuala mengine yote ya labda kutosafiana nia kisiasa, kutokubaliana na siasa, hiyo haibadili chochote. Kile cha muhimu ni kwamba tuko familia, na familia tunavuta pamoja liwe liwalo. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana, naomba tafadhali tukatekeleze wajibu wetu kama ilivyo desturi, kisha naamini kuna baraka zetu katika hayo. So Mungu awabariki. Mi sitakaa sana kwa sababu napaswa kuwa kwa bed rest, lakini tuko pamoja mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Hakuna mahali tunakwenda. Ni muhimu tukahakikishe hilo na tusimame imara katika kutekeleza wajibu wetu kama wazalendo. Nashukuru wote ambao mmesimama nasi siku hizi zote. Kuna wale ambao wametoroka, kuna wale ambao wameangukia njiani, lakini sisi bado tumesimama. Naamini kwamba lile ambalo tunasimamia litatuhalalisha hapo baadaye. I believe Kenya for all Kenyans, a better Kenya for all Kenyans is a worth cause and a worth call for each one of us to stick by and do what we must do. So thank you very much. Please, let's keep at Sound Candid Talk. Tuendelee kushirikiana, na kama kuna mtu atakosa ile announcement, please mjulishe. Just take it upon ourselves. We may only have like 2-3 days. So hakikisha kwamba tunatekeleza huo ushirika wetu na ule uaminifu wetu wa kulindana kama ndugu kwa mwingine. So wait for the msimamo number, tukaanze kutuma michango yetu moja kwa moja kwa hiyo number. I just want to confirm the names, and then you will get it in the comment section. Then it will also be displayed on the screen. Otherwise, thank you very much. Tukae ngangari, tutekeleze wajibu wetu. Naona anaitwa nani? Nick Pictures has joined as a member. Thank you for joining as a member. We appreciate it. We salute you for the same. Please, let's also endeavor to do that. That's one way of supporting the channel and helping the channel grow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Kila moja. Naona nani huyu Mato Makndesi anasema tujenge State House na tumwagie wananchi takataka. It's a business entity called government. Okay? Sasa wewe uko sehemu gani? Ndani ya serikali ama kando? Njoo ujitetee hapa. William Wadilo, siku nyingi karibu, lakini nashukuru. So as we return into the debate, please let's take upon ourselves to do that support for msimamo. Moral support, mtumie message ya kumencourage. Losing a parent is not an easy thing, whether they are dying at 60 or at 80 or even 100 plus. It is just something that you require somebody to be there for you. Please, let's be there one for another and stick out our neck one for another. It is the noblest thing to do. Asante sana.
At Sound Candid Talk, we provide live UHD broadcasting for church services, talk shows and podcasts, weddings, live bands, products and services launches, webinars and trainings, Zoom meetings, conferences, seminars, exhibitions, and virtual concerts. Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Candid Talk Live.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for participating into the show. Please hakikisha uko mstari wa mbele kukaribisha mtu na makinika katika kutufuata. Tuko TikTok, hatujaingia leo. tutaangalia masuala hayo, lakini kwa sasa hivi naomba tafadhali tukue mstari wa mbele kuchangia ndugu yetu na kumsupport vizuri tu. Hebu ni confirm hii namba inachanganya kiasi, but I think is okay. 409 408, there you go, 052. Chaka Mdune is the name. So please, here are the details. Naomba tafadhali, let's not abuse the number. Let's not abuse the number. I'm sharing it in confidence and also believing that we are going to use it responsibly, but it's important. So to support msimamo katika masuala ya mazishi ya babake, atakuwa hapa kujieleza labda baadaye, lakini kwa sasa hivi tukue support yake, tumfariji, na naamini kwamba tutakuwa tunatekeleza yale ambayo tunapaswa kuyatekeleza. Okay. Asante sana. Namuona bwana IG. Bwana IG, hali vipi? Wetangula amesema umuone. Ni wewe ama mwingine? Wetangula anataka kuona IG. Ni wewe ama IG mwingine?
Wetangula ako wapi?
Baba ile bakwada huko kwa nini? Kwa nini bunge?
Alikuwa ameenda kuona kutafuta inspector general huko.
Ati aeleze kwa nini takataka inamwaga mbele ya stima.
Sijafuatilia hilo jambo. Nimeliona mahali tu ile jambo la nini la kusema sijui takataka mbele Kenya Power. Sasa unajua nini wakati City Hall hailipi stima wanakuja kukata. Is it true?
Yes.
Aya. Kwa sababu hiyo ni kama revenge. Wanadango wanakata stima. Na watu wa City Hall wamesema nyinyi hamjalipanga services zetu za sewerage. Sasa wacha tuwaonyeshe. Tit for tat.
Sasa kama ni tit for tat, mimi nashindwa. Badala waite Sakaja na waite Wandai ni wa energy. Mbona wanaita IG? IG anahusika kivipi?
Aenda achunguze, lakini hizo zao wao watu wamechanganyikiwa by the way. Hao huko ni kuchanganyikiwa. Si unaona hivi wakati accident imefanyika badala ambulance iende ni gari ya polisi inaenda. Badala wapeleke rescue team ni gari ya polisi inaenda. Haya, moto imewaka badala wapeleke firefighter ni gari ya polisi inaenda. Unaona? Hii ni Kenya bana. Kila kitu misplaced, kila kitu misplaced.
Our priorities are never right.
Yeah.
We must get it wrong always.
Misplaced priorities. So that's it.
Sawa, maoni yako kwa hiyo masuala tukiendelea.
Just ndio nimeingia sasa hivi, unajua sijakufuatilia. So tukiendelea, catch up tukiendelea.
No problem. Thank you very much. Swala nyeti ni kwamba 300 billion kuongezea kwa budget. Yaani ile tulikataa umeongeza 300 billion na ndio sijua Kenya mkitoa wapi hiyo ingine mkiongezea ili wakule. Alafu of course hiyo masuala ya IG kwa pia before the committee ya wherever ya Wetangula kuhusu masuala ya takataka na vita katikati ya Sakaja na watu wa stima. And then hii maneno ya SHA imechacha. The crisis continues, wagonjwa wengi wamekataliwa, watu wanazunguka wakitafuta hospitali inayokubali SHA na hazipatikani. Ili hali wakurugenzi wa SHA wanasema tuko na hospitali za kutosha ambazo zinakubali SHA. So ni kipi hiki ambacho kinaendelea na wa Kenya wetu ili nani atakayesema ukweli? Ni wenye hospitali, ni serikali, ama ni kipi hiki?
Unajua sisi tuliongea kutoka mwanzo wakati serikali ilikuwa mamlaka. Tuliongea kutoka mwanzo tukaambia watu msifurahie ya kwamba ati serikali imeingia. Hii serikali iko na mambo yake ile, especially viongozi hao wapo na tunawajua. Tulijua kutoka mwanzo walikuwa kwa the previous government ya Uhuru. Hao ni wale tu watu walikuwa kwa ile previous government, wakaasi ile serikali nyingine wakakuja huku in the name of forming a new government. So nyani ni wale tu, lakini msitu ndio umebadilika. So mimi sikutarajia any changes kwa sekta zetu maybe za elimu na na afya, especially afya ndio imedorora kabisa na elimu. Hizi sekta mbili zimedorora kabisa. So wananchi wengi walikuwa na matumaini, lakini sisi tuliona haya maneno kutoka mwanzo. Tukawaambia lakini hawakusikia. Ati mtu wetu wako pale. So saizi hizo ndio consequences ambazo tuna face saizi. Kulingana na ile ignorance wa Kenya wengi walikuwa nayo wakati wa kupiga kura na hata baada ya kura. Wengi hawakuamini ya kwamba hao watu hawana uwezo wa kutekeleza au kuboresha huduma katika sekta mbalimbali kama elimu na afya. Sana sana hizo sekta mbili zinaguza mwananchi sana. Elimu na afya ndio zimedorora kabisa. So mimi nasema Kenya hii tuko mahali pabaya sana.
So Wakenya wakae roho mkononi kwa sababu hawana mlinzi hata wakilia wa kuwasikiza hayupo.
Hakuna mtu wa kutusikiza. Sasa wale tulitarajia watatuokoa saa hizi ndio sasa unasikia, sitaki kusema sana lakini wako pande ile nyingine. Wale tulikuwa tunatarajia watatuokoa. Nani ataokoa Mkenya sasa? Ni Gachagua atatuokoa ama nani?
Gachagua naye anadai kwamba Raila aongee kwa sababu yeye ameshikilia nchi. Sasa mimi nashindwa hii nchi inaongozwaje? Inaongozwa kutoka State House ama inaongozwa kutoka barabarani?
Wanasema inaongozwa kutoka Upper Hill. Hizo ndio habari za hivi punde. Inaongozwa kutoka Upper Hill.
Upper Hill mlimpeleka Bondo. Kwani huku Bondo amfikangi?
Sijui.
Ama magari ya kwenda Bondo ilikoma.
Magari ilikoma.
Gari ilikataa.
Ilifika Upper Hill pale ndilikuwa Bondo, Upper Hill. Sasa tunashindwa.
Basi wakubali tu basi. Then reshuffle ifanyike, wakutimbuliwa watimuliwe, wenye serikali wabaki kwa serikali. Alafu tuone kama kutakuwa na mabadiliko.
Sioni kama kutakuwa na mabadiliko hapo sasa. Mimi sioni kabisa. Labda serikali mpya tu yenye haina, yani serikali ikuwe ni mpya kabisa, rais mpya, wabunge wapya, kila kitu kipya, lakini kama tuko na hao watu wetu hao hakuna. Sioni.
Maybe inaweza tokea hata kwa ukale. Nimeona video moja imenifurahisha sana. Askari moja huko Uganda amekaidi sheria ambayo ilikuwa imesema wanahabari hawaruhusiwi kotini. Sasa yeye akaamua kupasua mbarika. Akasema kuna sheria kama hiyo, na kama koti haitaki watu watu wanaitwa nini, wanahabari waingie ndani, yeye atawaingiza mwenyewe. So akawa anapambana na hao watu wamevaa kitenge na yeye amevaa jeshi. Auliza, wewe rangi yako ni gani? Huwezi kunisimamisha. So kuna ile naweza sema mwamko mpya ambao unatekelezwa katika Afrika, ambako viongozi watatoka sehemu ambayo haijulikani labda, lakini watakuwa pro the people. And so expecting change, I think we need to expect it from anywhere, from any quarter, especially unexpected quarters. Sababu mambo yakibadilika, inaweza kuwa tu wale ambao wanakaka na kwamba si hao ndio wanakuwa hao. Now, that's why Kenyans need to not to be so much tied to personalities. Tumtegemee Mungu, alafu Mungu anaweza kuinua wale ambao wako vichakani wakawa ndio viongozi ama ndio wakombozi, na kule ambako tulikuwa tunatarajia kwamba anaitwa nini, mwokozi atazaliwa it comes from the unlikely places, so we need to be expectant from those unlikely places to produce for us the required leadership, and that can be from anywhere, from those who are on the frontliners and then those who are forgotten in the backside of the desert.
Yes, maybe. But with the current leadership, no. We are not expecting much from this, be it from opposition or where, from the current government. Hiyo usahau.
Hiyo ilisha.
Hii sioni. Kukua tuna mwamko mpya kutoka mahali ambapo tutarajia, lakini hii the current regime na opposition yenye tuko nayo saa hii, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, and then this Gachagua factor, kuna vile ambavyo linasukumwa ni hivi kwamba tutumie chuki ama tutumie hekima, kwa sababu hii anaendeleza ni chuki. Okay, watu wachukie mtu fulani, waende kupiga kura kupanish mtu fulani, wala sio kuchagua kiongozi. Na tumefanya hiyo miaka hii yote. Tukiendelea hivyo, will still end up with another mistake.
Yeah, Gachagua, we are not buying Gachagua's ideas, leadership style yake yenye anataka kuingia. Hiyo hatuwezi. We are not buying that idea. Hii yake atafuta mahali kwingine, lakini sioni hiyo tukienda barabara hiyo, kwa sababu tumeona wakati wa 2013 ilifanyika ya karibu tu hapa. 2013 imefanyika, 2022 imefanyika, voting in the name of punishing someone, and then we end up in a mess. Hii yake hii hatutaenda huko, hiyo barabara hatuendi. Kama anataka kupanish mwenzake, ampanish peke yake. Mahali walikuwa wakikosana, sisi hatukuwa kule. Walikula peke yao, walipokosana sisi hatukuwa pale. So asikuje kututumia sisi. Tumbo ni lao, wenye walikula wao ndio wanajua.
Hapo basi. And then that's an important point, and I would want it to be emphasized. Wewe kama mpiga kura, unaenda kuchagua ama unaenda kuhukumu na kupanish mtu? Bila kutumia ile hekima ambayo tunapaswa kuitumia na tuchague viongozi, kura yetu haitakuwa na maana yoyote. Sababu katiba inatupatia kura na uwezo wa kupiga kura kama right. It's a citizen right and a constitutional right. It's for us to pick on credible leaders. And if we don't use that opportunity to ensure that we vote in credible leaders, then we should be prepared to suffer the consequences. And the consequences are this: when we are being asked to suspend our thinking, to suspend our choice, and go into the ballot booth to punish somebody other than elect a leader. Electing should be more important than punishing an individual. Now, I'm not saying that vote for everyone or vote for anything, but it's important that when we go to vote, let's think about that vote. Kumbuka, it's 5 years. It's either 5 years of enjoyment or 5 years of suffering. You are giving this person power over you. We are delegating that responsibility. And hii story ya kusema tumpatie alafu ikishindikana we recall. Unaona vile we have been frustrated. Recalling is difficult. So let us take serious when ukiwa kwa hiyo booth. Kabla utik sehemu fulani, kubali mateso ya huyo mtu. Kubali mateso ya huyo mtu. Kama utateseka, uteseke kama unyamaza. Lakini ukisema ulienda kupanish mtu na ukatumia kura yako kupunish bila kuchagua, basi usikuje kwetu kulia wakati mateso yanaanza, kwa sababu hukutumia akili yako ipasavyo na hukutumia nafasi yako ipasavyo kuchagua kiongozi. Na hii inaenda at all levels, from the MCA to the governor to the senator to the member of parliament. Let us for once as Kenyans go and elect credible people. One of the things that is embarrassing about our parliament is when you listen to parliament and the people giving views are short of everything then. They are short of everything sound. They are short of everything intellectual. Now that breaks my heart, because these people are supposed to set the pace for the country. They are the ones supposed to make policies that move the country forward. So if they are backward in their thinking, they are backward in their attitude, they are backward in their level of literacy, they are backward almost in manners, I mean. Now, how do you expect them to come up with policies that are going to help the country move forward? So tuchague wale watu ambao tunaweza wategemea na tunaweza kufanya nini? Kujifunza kutoka kwao. If that person cannot teach you anything, don't elect him. Why should you give the seat of power to somebody you need to teach? So if they can't teach you and they can't lead you, then don't elect them. So this civic education needs to be taken a notch higher, and we need to demand more from those people, especially in leadership, haswa kwa parliament. Kwa sababu unaona hizi sheria nyingi zinatupwa nje na koti. Zote zimetoka kwa parliament. So kwa nini parliament yetu hakuna watu wanafikiria vizuri, ama wale wapo wananyamazishwa kwa bahasha? Tunahitaji bunge ambayo ni bunge halisi, ambayo itaponyesha wa Kenya. So labda IG utaongezea kidogo. Asua tukirudi mashinani. Tuangalie wakina shosho ambao wanapiga kura mashinani. Kwa nini wanapiga kura hivyo? Na sio vile tunasema.
As much as voting is a right according to as per our constitution, unajua tumetumia vibaya mpaka watu yani wanaona hiyo it's no longer a right. Watu unaona sasa, kama saa hii, kama mimi, kama tuseme last election ya 2022, I traveled all the way from DRC, na bahati mbaya sikubadilisha voting center, kwetu ni Nandi, unaona. Lakini kwa vile nilikuwa nafanya kazi Kitale, Trans Nzoia County since 2013, 2013 nikapiga kura, 2017 I voted in Kitale, so sikubadilisha nini polling station. Sasa nililazimika kutoka DRC all the way to Kitale in the name of voting in 2017. Imagine, nimeenda ile nini ya nimelala kwa hoteli, nimelipa hoteli, nimelala, nime waste hiyo transport yote kwenda Kitale, accommodation and whatever. Nimekaa Kitale for like 1 week voting. Imagine hizo cost niliinka in 2017 kwa sababu ya kwenda kuvote, because nilijua voting is my right. Lakini vile wanarudi wanageuza hiyo nini, mpaka wengine tunaona it's no longer a right. Ndio unaona watu wengi wanaacha kuvote kwa sababu hiyo nini, hiyo voting nini, hiyo right yao ya kuvote, kuna watu wanaifanya vibaya, wanaitumia vibaya. So hii 2027 sijui kama watu wataenda kuvote. Watu wamechoka. Watu wamechoka.
Lazima tupewe sababu ya kutosha ndio tuondoke kwenda kupiga kura.
Yeah. Because kama ni ahadi tumepewa. The only government tulikuwa naye mzuri, ilitoa ahadi mzuri, ni ile ilikuwa ya Kibaki 2002. Miaka ya kwanza hiyo ndio the only government tulikuwa yenye ilipeana ahadi na ikajaribu kutimiza na ikaboresha maneno. Hizi zingine tumepewa ahadi mingi sana, wanapeana ahadi, wanaingia in power, but still they don't perform. 2013 ndio hiyo hawakufanya. 2017 ndio hiyo hawakufanya. Walifanya kidogo. Sasa watu wamechoka bwana Bena. Watu wamechoka. Mimi hata sijui kama nitatoka next kama itanikuta huko, sijui kama nitatoka kuja kuvote. What am I voting? Ni kuchoka. Imagine kutoka hapo unachoma pesa mingi sana. Yani kwenda kuvote you spend more than 20k. Ati unaenda kuvote. Alafu jamaa wanaitumia tu vibaya namna hii. Hauoni value ya hiyo vote yako hiyo. Value inapotea kabisa. So lazima watupe sababu na kufanyike civic education. Watu waeleweshe labda umuhimu wa kwenda kuvote. Nani wenye civic education ya nani? Si ni hawa bunge yetu inafaa watueleweshe mambo ya nini? On how to vote. Kwa sababu wao ndio wanataka sisi tuwavotie. So lazima watuambie why are we voting? Why we should vote for them? The importance of voting.
Exactly. And then kama kura ya mui kiongozi, hakuna haja kupiga. Tutaenda kupiga kama hiyo kura yetu itaamua kiongozi. Lakini kama sisi tutawekwa kwa line kukaa hapo tupigwe jua na mvua, alafu baadaye tumechagua huyu anayetangazwa ni yule mwingine, basi watuambie tu washachagua list yao, watusomee vile wanafanya kanisani. Leo hii tumechagua elder fulani, watakuwa elder for the next 3 years. Piga makofi, waombe, maliza mambo. Lakini ya kusukumana kwa line, tumepanga line siku nzima, tumepiga kura, alafu wanakuja kutuambia masuala ambayo hatujui kule yametoka. Basi hiyo inahujumu haki zetu, inahujumu katiba, na hatutaki kuwa sehemu mambo kama hayo. Asante. Naomba hivi tutachukua break kidogo, tukiswitch mimi nang'atuka. Naomba tafadhali tuendelee na show. Kina Douglas na Shadizo wako hapa, wataendelea na mchakato huu ambao tunaangazia masuala nyeti haya. Lakini jifunze, nafundisha mtu. Alafu ile suala la msimamo tafadhali lishughulikie moja kwa moja. Nimeweka namba yake pale. Majina yake ni Chaka Mdune. Wakati unatuma M-Pesa yako ya kusupport mazishi ya babake Msimamo, naomba utumie hizo details. Let me just display it on the screen shortly. Please, let's adhere to that. It's +254 798 408 052. Chaka Mdune. Hiyo ndio majina yake kamili ambayo utatumia wakati una support mazishi. Itakuwa hii weekend, na kama uwezi kwenda basi tuma, na hiyo itakuwa muhimu sana. Asante sana. Mungu awabariki tunapoendelea na hiyo. Tukutane tutakapokutana. Mimi huyu baadaye.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Ujambo na karibu tena kwa kipindi chetu kwa sehemu ama kwa awamu ya pili. Watakuwa na isukuma kiasi kisha tutakuwa naweza kudondoka studioni, lakini nawasi wa Kenya ndio tuweze kujadiliana na kusemezana kiundani zaidi, manake mengi yamejiri na mengi yametokea, na tukiacha hayo tunazidi kupanda ngazi za kusonga mbele kuangalia mambo ambayo yamejiri zaidi na zaidi. Manake kusema kweli ni mengi yametokea, mengine yamewakera wa Kenya, mengine yamezidi kuzunguka, lakini wacha tuyatazame haya ambayo yameweza kutokea. Na tukiachana na hayo swali la hilo, wacha tukuje kisiasa kidogo, ambapo Gachagua amejitokeza na kusimama na kumwambia kwamba Raila Amolo Odinga aweza kutangaza msimamo wake mahali ambapo alipo. Wacha tazame hili kisha tuanze kujadili nalo.
Has challenged former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to declare his political stand a day after the former premier met President William Ruto fresh from his fall in Addis Ababa at State House in Mombasa, and announced that he would consult his supporters before outlining his political roadmap. Speaking to Kamba media stations, the former deputy president faulted Odinga for sitting on the fence, saying it is stalling the country's political discourse. He, however, insisted that he is ready to team up with Odinga to unseat President William Ruto.
Sisi hatumwelewi Raila Odinga, na nimesema juzi nilikuwa na interview. Hatujui vile anataka. Na tunangojea atoe msimamo ndio tujue vile tutakaa na yeye. Kama ataamua kuchafua legacy yake ya miaka hii yote na kuunga Rais William Ruto mkono, hiyo ni haki yake. Na sisi hatuwezi mzuia. Lakini hiyo haina shida yoyote. Kwa sababu zile kura alikuwa nazo, ndani yake iko kura mingi sana ya Kalonzo Musyoka. Hiyo itakuwa imeondoka. Pale Kisii imeondoka. Pale kwa Mlima alikuwa na kura 1.1 imeondoka. Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu kubwa sana atapelekea Rais William Ruto. Number 2, huyu Rais William Ruto amewachwa na kila mtu. Kanisa ambaye ziliunga yeye mkono zimemuondokea. Watu ya Mlima tuliunga yeye mkono 3.5 million tumeondoka. Watu wako na payslip. Hao wafanyikazi wote wakiwemo nyinyi wanalalamika sana. Kila mtu ya payslip na payslip holders ni karibu 3.5 million wamemuondokea rais. Hii watoto wetu wa Gen Z ambaye watachukua kura karibu 9 million hawako na yeye.
Hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo. Ndivyo Gachagua ametoa maoni yake na anasema kwamba Rais Ruto kwamba hana kitu akibaki peke yake ama amebaki peke yake. Wewe unaonaje kwamba rais amebaki peke yake ama bado, ama ni ile tu kusema tu kuna sema? Kwa sababu hili linachemsha ama acha Wakenya wakiwa vinywa wazi, lakini tutazidi kujadiliana. Naomba niambie maoni yako ni yapi kulingana na hilo swala pia, na tujue ni yapi bana zile watu wanasema kwamba comment section pia yeye mnaona vipi? Gachagua anasema kwamba rais kwamba Ruto Raila kwamba atangaze msimamo wake. Je, msimamo wa Raila ni upi? Lakini wacha tuisikiza na tuna kama majibu yataweza kutokea kwa Raila tukiungana nayo. Tuache tukufanya kwanza mfumo ambao umekuwa ukileta matatizo mengi, na ni mfumo wa SHA ambao umekuwa ukiongelewa zaidi na zaidi na umekuwa ukikumbwa na mambo mengi. Wacha tazame mfumo wa SHA, mfumo wa SHA, kisha tusonge mbele pamoja.
Of a standoff over debts owed to the private and faith-based health facilities by the now defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund and claims management by its successor, the Social Health Authority. And while Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Barasa Mulongo today told the Senate that engagements are being held at the highest level to resolve the deadlock, senators question her ability to withstand the pressure of the office she holds. That story will be shortly with us here on the broadcast by Olive Barrows. And still on this, we have that story, and here is that report by Olive Barrows, who begins our broadcast tonight with that story.
Confusion persisted on Wednesday, with patients unclear whether the health facilities that they visit would accept the national health insurance governed by the Social Health Authority or would be required to pay out of pocket.
Ningeomba muweze kutusaidia insurance ya SHA iwe kama NHIF.
From Kisii to Kericho, patients could only hope that their preferred health provider would not require them to pay out of pocket despite having registered for the Social Health Authority insurance cover.
Tumejaribu karibu hospitali karibu mbili Kilgori simekataa SHA, wanahitaji tu cash.
While health providers say they are willing to meet patient demands, they maintain that they're confronted with fiscal constraints, government facilities included.
Like as of this moment, we have had to suspend the service, not because we are not willing to give services, but because of the pressure Once patients come here, they expect drugs in stock. They expect lab reagents to be in stock. Okay? They expect to find staff enough to work. Okay? But now that requires money which we expect out of the reimbursement which is not forthcoming.
Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Mlongo did not have an easy time of things when she appeared before the Senate on Wednesday to answer questions on a raft of issues, top among them the Social Health Authority.
We passed those four laws, Mr. Speaker, knowing that SHA was going to be transformational and change the lives of Kenyans. Do not sit in your office, Madam Minister, and listen to your choir of office officials. Come and listen to the representatives of the people to tell you the challenges that people are facing.
Now that the president told us that if we remove that capping, that if all of us pay according to our abilities, we will end the specter of harambes to raise money for healthcare in this country. Can the cabinet secretary standing here before the Senate today confirm to us that there is no family in this country that has planned a harambe for this weekend? If she cannot confirm, then she should be gentle enough, she should be kind enough to tell us today that this thing is not working.
I wonder how she's going to manage this ministry. And I don't know if she has thought of even resigning.
In the midst of the firestorm that rained on her head and that of the SHA CEO, Robert Ingasira,
private and faith-based health facilities are withdrawing from the SHA for reasons of funding, release of funds to the facilities. I saw yesterday the CEO make a very irresponsible statement saying that there are only 300 facilities. So even if they disappear, nothing will really change. Madam CS, that statement coming from your CEO, Madam CS, I would have expected a rejoinder from you immediately to say that you care if you do.
Mlongo stayed true to script.
In various countries, you observe that they raise concerns and grievances, first of all, on waiting time, second, on the system interruptions. So this is a common issue.
But even as she gave this assurance,
we are talking to His Excellency the President. Again, we have talked to the Treasury, and now we are also requesting for your support, to ensure that we are paying the NHIF bill.
Olive Burrows, Citizen.
That's our story for SHA is, and that's how sympathetic it is, because if you are expecting the payments, you see that things are getting in the ditch. Yesterday, as a simple question asked, if the county government or the government is fighting themselves until they saw the reaction that we saw in the way we saw Nairobi that has recently, it is so bad because it shows that even the other departments, they haven't have a clear conversation. So one thing I like to ask is, let us be careful, let us stand still so that we can know where the problem is and sort out everything accordingly and rightly, not just sorting out things because they are running or they are being sorting out, but standing up still and standing up uprightly and sorting everything in an orderly manner. Because if we don't stand up and set up everything in an orderly manner, this thing show that it's be difficult and go crazy. And apart from that way, going to university that will not be able to turn it back to the path, but follow it and where it's just going it. So what I urge to ask Kenyans is, let us stand still, let us have the clear route, let us have the clear in the voting side. As the Bernard said earlier, when we are voting directly or accordingly towards the purpose. So don't vote against or don't vote while you are not checking out clearly. Stand up clearly, vote up clearly, and stay up as Kenyans. As they also checking us this, also Martha Karua has decided to form up a new party, and we want to check the conversation between Martha Karua and saying that it's starting out a party called People's Party. So we want to check about this, all about this, and that's not, or what is it or why does Martha Karua decided to start this? Tell us, Jenna, for this.
It does get tiring, disappointing, and you feel like suffering burnout. But what's the way out? It's our country, it's our home, our collective home. We can't give up on it. So we got to keep going until things are right. And even when we are not there, we hand over to the next generation and the next. There's always something to do. If things are good, nothing good is incapable of improvement. If things are bad, always work to clean up.
So, sometimes do you wake up in the morning and say, I can't do this. I mean,
no,
I can't do this.
No. I wake up in the morning saying, I gotta do this. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me something. Your thoughts on this broad-based government so far? I mean, it looks like ODM is in government and then others are in government. Everybody's in government. There's no opposition.
My only problem with it is that the law demands that if a party wants to work with government after elections, then you ought to enter into a post-election coalition agreement. Failure to do that, and that's what ODM has failed to do, means they have one leg in government, one leg in the opposition. That is totally unconstitutional, and it is messing the design of the checks and balances. Their ministers are in government, their cabinet secretaries, and then they are sitting on the critical watchdog committees, public accounts, public investments, to watch over themselves. That is what is wrong. They should have left those committees already by entering a post-coalition agreement and going into government the right way through the front door. And the second largest party, Wiper, and the others would have taken those seats so that there's a clearly defined opposition and a government. Nothing wrong with choosing to work with government, but do it through the front door.
Speaker Moses Wetangula ruled that KK is the ruling party, or rather the majority.
He knows that what he did was wrong, was dishonest. From day one, and you remember me saying it at KICC, long before the results were announced, that Azimio had majority members of parliament. We also had majority governors. And that time, Kakamega and Mombasa had not elected. When they elected governors, it's again added to the numbers of Azimio. Kenyans must ask themselves, Azimio had a majority of parliamentarians, a majority of governors. Is it really possible that KK even won the presidency? The answer is no. They got it the way they knew.
Which is?
Crooked. I believe, and I know, that Azimio won those elections, but never got the seat. KK got it. A bit disappointed that ODM is joining KK, who took away the victory.
And yet the Supreme Court ruled that you guys, Azimio, were, full of hot air. You took it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And they ruled this was all hot air.
I do not believe in their ruling. We respected it, but that doesn't mean we agreed with it. I'm at the East African Court of Justice questioning it. Yeah. We may not get the seats, but at least we could get a decision that affirms our position that justice was not served.
Yeah.
Even those Court of Appeal, Supreme Court judges know that that judgment had issues. And perhaps that is why, instead of going on issues only, they took to calling us names. That's where the vocabulary of hot air came from. And we are now seeing the hot air of removal.
All right. Have a sip, Iron Ladies.
I have, because my throat is playing tricks.
And the show's getting very hot here.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your thoughts on Baba's Addis Ababa debacle. If
I think he tried, he fought.
Yeah.
Because 2 rounds he was ahead.
Yes.
But I think he's keeping company that could not let him finish it with victory. The foreign policy of Ruto and his KK regime, or the want of it, I believe is what cost Baba. When the entire Africa was standing with the Palestinians, Dr. Ruto rushed to support Israel. That must have cost Baba some votes. When there are many other missteps, the way even now, right now, he's handling the RSF, but this is not the first time. You remember he was named a mediator as IGAD head for Sudan,
correct,
and the generals refused.
Correct.
You remember that he recognized Harui immediately he was sworn, and then something, went wobbly.
Yeah.
So rushing to take positions without referring to what the policy position is in the country. Because foreign policy is not informed by personal whims. It should be informed but by well-researched policy paper and the position of the country. If it has an impact on what other African countries or regional countries are thinking about, you should have reference to that. So we lack a coherent foreign policy. And that is what caused Baba. If you see that amidst all that, he got 23 votes, 20, then you can see that he had an appeal and perhaps he could have made it.
And him calling Macron about the DRC.
Instead of like we are referring to another, to a foreign master, All those issues, all those blunders must have been the ones that caused Baba. Because I don't think that anybody in Africa is not aware of Baba's credentials. Yeah.
And the RSF forming a parallel government in Nairobi.
I think Dr. Ruto is just confirming what I have said of his regime. It's a rogue regime, searching for other rogue entities to join with, because the RSF has, to its credit, the massacres in Darfur. It is associated with it, And you cannot choose sides and have a function larger government in Kenya. That is not the way to help Sudan. And remember, Sudan is part of IGAD. I mean, all that confusion, it's not good for Kenya. It's not good for us.
So what is it? Does he have an unqualified team around him? Is that, I don't know.
Actually, I'm going to say something quite controversial, that maybe he is hoping to one day use the RSF here in Kenya to maintain power. He will have to tell us, why is he bringing them here? What is it that he wants from them? Is it the gold from Darfur? Is it personal? Or is he thinking of a rogue, unofficial force in Kenya? You remember, we once said in a statement, and it is true, that the abductors in Kenya include foreigners. I'm wondering, can he clarify whether the RSF are part of the abductors? The information we had that there are people from some neighboring East African countries. Can you clarify whether these are some of them? Otherwise, what is this that we are seeing? It's totally unprecedented.
To you and to the rest of us, is that worrying?
It is worrying, a very worrying trend. And Kenyans must know we are on our own. Our security has already been compromised. And the bringing of RSF to Nairobi further complicates and compromises. The security of foreigners in Kenya is compromised too. Dr. Kizza Besigye was abducted from Nairobi. 36 Ugandans belonging to his party were abducted from Kisumu. Ethiopians have been abducted. Some of them disappeared completely. Turkish nationals who were registered as refugees in Kenya have been disappeared. Lots of Kenyans, especially Kenyan youths, have been disappeared. Others are turning up dead. Others come back after torture. What is happening? It's like the moment Dr. William Ruto and his KK regime entered, insecurity entered. So the solution to insecurity in Kenya is getting rid of the KK regime.
Tell me something. Speaking of Dr. Kizza Besigye, you traveled to Kampala. You were part of the team defending him, weren't you?
I'm still part of the team if my license in Uganda is extended. I had asked certain questions to the Law Council, which were to be answered today. I don't know what they will say, but subject to permission from the Law Council, I continue to be part of his team.
Tell me something. What's the motive?
The motive?
Yeah, what's your motive?
I think the insecurity that is in Kenya has spread to the region. Kenya's regime's rogue behavior is affecting Ugandans. That's how Dr. Kizza Besigye found himself in a military court. He had just traveled from Uganda to Kenya. He was not arrested in Uganda. He was abducted in Kenya. 36 Ugandans were abducted in Kenya. Maria Sarungi of Tanzania was abducted in Kenya and could have been taken back, most probably to Tanzania, against her wish. And all of those are being abducted without going before a judge for an order to be made. It's not an extradition. It's an abduction. A government, a legitimate government, does not abduct. It arrests because it has power of arrest. And if it is by request of another country, you go before a court of law. And the court orders the extradition. So this rogue behavior, if we do not unite as the citizens of East Africa, the same way the leaders in those countries are uniting to perpetuate rogue behavior and to terrorize citizens, then we will perish. So we either unite and fight this together, push back, or we perish. And we are citizens of East Africa. The East African Constitutive Act, one of the foundational principles is the rule of law principle in Article 6 and 7 of the EAC Treaty. We must challenge the actions of our leaders. We must push back. We must utilize the institutions that are there, the courts of law in our respective countries, and even in the East African Court. And I believe the Besigye matter has been filed in the East African Court by citizens and by organizations. I know the East Africa Law Society has filed, and I know several citizens of Uganda have filed.
Tell me something, Anna Lady. The brazen abduction in broad daylight on Riverside Drive of Kizza Besigye. I mean, and 24 hours later, nobody said anything.
Nobody said, even now, the Kenyan government had never talked. But in the military court in Uganda, they admitted and were gleefully saying that they have an MOU with Kenya, which enabled them. Because I was telling them, in fact, Nairobi was the capital of Kenya. How did Ugandan military men come to abduct people from Nairobi? It's an act of aggression. Kenya is not saying anything. But I bet they were in company of Kenyan officers. We shall never know who they were. Maybe they were military like them or police. There were 8. 4 are the ones that took Dr. Besigye and Lutare to Uganda, meaning those 4 were Ugandans. And they had them speaking Banyankole, language. So they knew they were from home, and they're the ones who took them. But the other 4 were left. So we must assume those other 4 were Kenyans. Yeah.
Are you afraid of dictatorship in the region? rising?
I am apprehensive. Fear is not an option. I've said many times, however much you fear, they will still come for you, even under your bed where you may be fight. So we must overcome that fear, join together and push back.
But
we must resist oppression. Yes.
And here in Kenya,
here too,
could we go down that slippery slope?
We must resist. I have said often that it does appear like Dr. William Ruto is in a hurry to graduate as a dictator. As Kenyans of goodwill, we must join hands and we must thwart that graduation. We must not allow him to graduate as a dictator. We must push back. And Kenyans of goodwill are pushing back. In the courts, they're speaking out by other actions like demonstrations. Kenyans of goodwill are pushing back. And I encourage that we continue pushing back.
Yeah. And lady, I want to talk about that more after the break. And also, what's your message to Gen Zs? Because you are their mother. What do you tell
My
them?
message to them...
Hold on. Hold the thought.
Okay.
Come back. And going forward, you want to be president or you're gunning to be president. You know, it's a rough road. People don't realize. Campaigning 47 counties is not easy.
What is rougher than the campaign is actually undertaking the job properly. That's tougher than the campaign. Yeah.
I like that. Iron Lady, Martha Karua, Senior Counsel. I forgot that earlier, sorry. Chairperson of NARC Kenya. Tomorrow, NARC Kenya.
People's Liberation Party.
As of tomorrow.
As of the date the registrar gave us the certificate. So we already are.
So we just say
This is a brand reveal.
Okay. Yeah. PLP is in the house.
It's in the house. That's why I'm purple.
You're purple all the way.
Yes.
I love it. What are your comments? What are your thoughts? At Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JG Live. JG Live takes a break. We'll be back with your comments on the magic wall in a moment.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye
by Dr. William Ruto immediately he assumed power illegally because they were pushed out for no other reason other than that they disagreed with the verdict of their 3 colleagues that he had won.
But they did resign.
They were pushed out. They didn't resign. They were pushed out through a commission, a commission made up of only his supporters. A one-sided commission. He pushed them out, created the crisis that we have gone through of not having an IBC. He has delayed it, and I know, because he's devoid of good faith, that I know, he will be forming not an independent electoral and boundaries commission, but a William Ruto commission.
What does that mean for you, or what does that say?
It just means that it will be one designed to work for him. So, but there are many ways we can do to still get a desired outcome, even with that. When Kivoito declared Kibaki the winner in 2002, was it? It wasn't. It
2007.
was 2002. No, 2002.
Oh, the first time.
2002 when we ousted the Kanu regime.
Yes.
Kivoito was not a Kibaki appointee, but the country overwhelmingly wanted change. So the vote for Kibaki and for the National Rainbow Coalition was so overwhelming that any attempts to rig were defeated. The only way Kenya will be able to rid of itself, the KK regime, is having an avalanche of votes. And that is why we are saying that our salvation lies in having a united opposition candidate.
And tell me something, will the IEBC be prepared for 2027?
When they do now, what they may not be prepared for is the boundaries review. But for elections, there's enough time. But demanding 61 billion shillings, this is corruption, a corruptly done budget. The Kenyan elections are more expensive than any other election in the world. So it is budgeted corruption. I am challenging our professionals, the accountants, the auditors. Why doesn't the professional body of accountants audit this? Why can't a few private people get together and audit this budget? We need to talk about that corruptly done budget. There's no way elections can cost 61 billion shillings, and they are always shoddily arranged. They result not only in presidential contest, but many, many other petitions, from gubernatorial to MCAs to members of parliament. What is this that makes them that expensive?
And by this, what it cost, 60.
Even that was exaggerated.
Correct.
We budget in a corrupt manner. I'm challenging our professionals to help us get out of this.
There's a commission in Parliament yesterday that said there's going to be 5.8 million new registered voters. Most of them will be Gen Zs.
Yeah.
What's your message to them?
My message, firstly, to the KK regime: stop criminalizing attaining of the age of majority by asking the youth to pay 1,000 shillings to be given identity cards.
Which has an expiration date.
I am 67 and I've never paid for an identity card. William Ruto has never paid for an identity card. The adults in this country have not paid for identity cards. Why are we punishing our children and grandchildren for becoming 18? It's not criminal to attain the age of majority. Cut wasteful spending and give all those who attain 18 IDs free of charge. Stop putting an expiry date on IDs. Unless if one loses or misplaces, let the IDs have no expiry date. Look for other ways of raising money and register every eligible voter. Let there be continuous registration. Let our young people get IDs and be registered as voters at the same time. And maybe we should be thinking of changing our system that once you register, you have an ID, you automatically are a voter. Yeah, let's stop duplicating roles. Yeah.
Speaking of voters, there's going to be plus minus 28 million voters in the next election, up from 22.
Yeah.
How is your party going to benefit from that?
I think it just means that there is a greater catchment area for every political party. After tomorrow's rebrand, we are going to every nook and cranny in this country. We are spreading wide to engage the voters and to look for them to be members and to endear ourselves to them. It's a scramble for votes, and we are ready.
Do you have the money? At the end of the day, elections are about money, aren't they?
Actually, I want to look at you and at the voters straight in the eye and say, we must demonetize our elections. An election and politics is like that water project in your area. It is like that electricity project. You never go to the project expecting to get money from the project. So do not come to a political party or to a politician expecting money. Offering to vie is offering to serve. Even though there will be a salary, it is your duty to get good leaders. So this is a joint project between those who want to be elected and the electors. The project can never give you money. Voters, Kenyans must be ready to support their political parties in cash and kind. Join a political party of your choice. Support that party with money, with your intellect, and also in kind by canvassing for it. Unless if we agree on that as Kenyans, or the majority do, then we can as well say it's those who have stolen our money, corruptly pilfered our resources, who will be elected. So we are going out as the People's Liberation Party to have all these conversations with the voters. It's not about money. It's about what a party and a candidate represents, and it's about their track record. Yeah.
A lot of people are asking right now, how do they join?
You can go online, peoplesliberationparty.com. That's one word, peoplesliberationparty.com.
That's it?
That's it. Or visit our offices, better still. Yeah.
Before we go to the magic wall, real quick, back to the IEBC, your opinion on the legacy of Wafula Chebukati?
Well, I've already said that the election results were bungled. The court also bungled the case because the decision of the court literally justified that in a collegial decision-making process of 7 people, 3 is a majority, not 4. Something that defeats common sense is, in the very same court, the Supreme Court, they do collegial decision-making. For them, a majority is 4. But for the IEBC, the effect of their decision was to legitimize 3 as a majority. So that's the legacy of Wafula Chebukati, of hijacking the commission with 2 others and ignoring the protests of 4. Yeah.
It's very candid, very candid. And later, we're going to go to Magic Wall. Ayub Abdul Kadir is here.
Yes.
He's going to read lots of tweets coming in very thick and very fast. What do you have, Ayub?
Yes, let's sample the feedback on X. The hashtag is Citizen TV and at Jeff Koinange and at Ayub Abdul Kadir. So the first one comes from former Mokorwein MP Kabando wa Kabando. He says to my friend, comrade Martha, you are tall on the national leadership integrity scale. Methinks you hold a trophy as Sterling Rainbow Water Minister. You would have become a versatile Deputy President of Kenya. Best wishes tomorrow as you launch the People's Liberation Party, PLP.
Kabando wa Kabando.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Churchill Omondi says Africa's political landscape is littered with infinite hypocrisy and stinking pretense. Anyone with unsoiled linen appears more ridiculous and utopic. Sad moment for our continent and Kenya in particular. Declan says, Kenya performed dismally last elections and failed to win even an MCA ticket despite her being the running mate. What lessons has she learned, and will she finally apologize for her role in 2007? Because I believe if she does, she will win. Probably she can respond.
Okay.
There's nothing to apologize for in 2007. How can I apologize for being Kibaki's agent? Kivoito announced the elections. Who else could have been sworn in other than the person announced? The only apologies as a political class is about the death and displacement of so many who were displaced by goons. Nothing to do with me, but as political class, that's a legacy that is bad for us. Now Kenya performed dismally, not so. We keep on saying Raila Odinga got so many votes. He didn't get that alone. He got with me as his running mate. It is not just the votes of Mount Kenya. I believe I had an impact with this vote countrywide. And who says we did not win MCA tickets? Go to Wajir County, go to Mandera, go to Kisii, and several other places. We do have Isiolo. If I could just stop there. If you're too lazy to check, don't comment. We do have MCAs, and we withdraw most of our candidates in the Mount Kenya area in favor of Jubilee. We were ready to lose in not fielding, in withdrawing candidates in order to create harmony and to secure the win, which I believe we secured and we didn't take.
You still think you won?
Not I think, it's a reality. We did win. Otherwise, they would have agreed to let us have a glimpse of the server. And the server represents records.
Okay. Kipruto Shole says, ask Martha Karua, how do we trust her as the Gen Zs? We have seen people being bought and end up betraying us. Is it only that she's not being invited on the dining table? And if she is invited, is she going to join the government?
Absolutely not. And even those who invite know that. I speak my mind, and there's no way I can join a regime that kills its children and that steals everything, leaving people to die of disease and stay without education.
Why should the Gen Zs trust you?
I am asking them to look at the track record of everybody, because the only way when you're hiring someone, you can know about them is going to their track record. Look at the track record of every candidate, and you come to know who can be trusted to keep their word.
All right.
Nice.
The next comes from Okelo Mwalimu. He says, the reality of Kenya's presidential contest is that for one must be considered a formidable candidate, he or she must have an ethnic group behind him or her. Is Martha Karua sure that her Gishugu constituents who failed to support her in 2022 can vote for her to a man?
Or woman.
Watch this space. Even your area, I will still get votes. We are sure this time that we are going to get it. And we are out there to persuade. We'll leave no stone unturned. Last time I joined and was named running mate 2.5 months to the elections. This is not exactly 2.5 months. We are ready. We've rolled up our sleeves. We are getting out.
We are more than 2.5 years before.
2.5 years, exactly. And the other thing is, you need at least 1 billion shillings. You know that.
I don't want to say how much I need or I don't need. Money is mobilized. Money is with the voters. Money is with the people of Kenya. We are not coming to you with money. We want to get money from you, from those who believe in us, and also contributions in kind from yourselves. I've never had money for any election.
Okay.
I always raise money. Yes.
Agumba Steve says, what's so different in the PLP that was not in NAK Kenya? What's her take? Is she ready to work with Raila Odinga again if not to come 2027? And what's her take on Rigiji's Wamunyoro meetings? Will you work with Raila Odinga again?
PLP, I think we have rebranded our house, and tomorrow we'll be talking more about what is in PLP. Am I ready to work with Raila Odinga again? Yes, but not backing him. Perhaps him backing me. Okay? But I'm ready to work not just with Raila, with any Kenyan, because we belong to the same country. But so long as we all agree to pull the side of redeeming this country, transforming it to serve Kenyans, not a few.
If you ran for president in 2027, would you agree to be his running mate again?
No. In fact, I have said I'm not ready to be a running mate. I can support someone, but I'm not going to run as a running mate again.
Even for Kalonzo?
I've said I will not be a running mate, but I can support a different person. Yeah, I'm done with running mate.
Okay. Abdimajid Mohammed says, can bygones be bygones and possible to work with President Ruto just like the former DP?
Absolutely not, because he's shown his hand. He has shown that he has absolutely no consideration for the people of Kenya. He has consideration for himself and the political elite. Working with him, no. Even last elections, I was approached and I said, in all honesty, no. Yeah.
And what
We
are the
worked
reasons? Is it
together.
principle?
We collaborated to fight BBI.
Yep.
But to collaborate to run for office, I said no, because of what I know about him before.
So that was Martha Karua has responded to our tweets, and I don't have much to say except to bring to the end of the conversation. We'll head to my tomorrow to see how to hear about PLP. More details on tomorrow's, and also to join us tomorrow because we're having another discussion tomorrow so that we can have this. For those who are watching, thank you.